Radiant team pick.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the NoShang Invitational. This is Game 2 in the best of 3 between Power Rangers and Fantastic 5. PR not really looking great in Game 1, so we'll see if they can bring it back here in Game 2, or if F5 are just going to close it out and save everyone time. I'm Mikelorus, going to be joined by Mrpdota for this second game, and dude, Power Rangers, I don't know, Disruptor again,
It's a comfort pick for J4. It didn't look very good last game. I felt like maybe even more so than the poor Disruptor play was goddamn overextending himself a few too many times, but kind of just the absence of the first phase Darkseer pick for Shashari Cat. It just felt like he never really had a huge influence in any of these team fights, and even the ones he did, it felt like a little bit too little too late for PR's side. So Fantastic 5 going to go back for what was a fantastic IO game in Game 1 from RMN, and Power Rangers, they leave it in the pool. Fantastic 5, they are going to take the Darkseer away from PR, trying to move them a bit out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, and even though we didn't see the combos land last game, there is still the threat of combos randomly landing. So eliminating that threat from Darkseer Disruptor, and of course that dual offlane Darkseer Earth Spirit, which also we didn't really see the most impact from in the last game, is still going to be probably worth the pick for Fantastic 5. And Darkseer just on an island, not really great up against a Disruptor, just +1, so this is kind of risky from Fantastic 5 to pick up a Darkseer into already a Disruptor opening, but getting rid of that combo is maybe going to be worth the risk. It really does depend if Fantastic 5 are able to get a combo of their own with the Darkseer. We've seen some teams run Darkseer with Night Stalker. Bounty Hunter is banned out, unfortunately, so there aren't many combinations that you can run here. Darkseer with Slaughter, actually, see occasionally, but yeah, we'll see if they can put any combos together there. And, of course, we have the IO, and we already mentioned the IO a hell of a lot in the last game. Played almost perfectly by RMN. He saved so many of his allies and was pretty difficult for Power Rangers to actually keep tabs of. So I think this is a pretty reasonable opening, at least from the first pick of F5.
Yeah, the Tinker ban actually going to come out in the second phase from PR, which is a bit curious to me. I felt like Fantastic 5. Yeah, I felt like Fantastic 5 could have put any hero in that slot, but Arise is the one drafting, and he was kind of baby raging in lobby chat about the Tinker Immortal giving him FPS drops and making it difficult to play. So maybe just simply taking that out because it was difficult for him to play around it last game. But I definitely feel like Fantastic 5, that's a small win for them in terms of the draft battle, being able to garner that ban for BZZ. And, he's got a fairly deep pool in that mid lane. He can always play Pugna with that beautiful BZZ set. But Juggernaut going to come out from PR's side, and definitely did a lot of work for OXN on Fantastic 5. Last game is a bit resistant as well to the relocate with the Blade Fury, and that can even blow up the Wisp if he positions himself well, maybe picks up something like a Blink Dagger and with that Omni Slash.
Yeah, definitely one of the better heroes, both aggressively and defensively, up against a Darkseer lane as well. So, Power Rangers opening, it's pretty nice, it's pretty stable, and well, as you said, Fantastic 5 are going to be pretty happy about that the Tinker being banned out, since it doesn't seem like Tinker is actually particularly good up against these Power Rangers heroes, yet still it's going to garner that ban. So yeah, just widening their options just a little bit. It's going to be a puck for Fantastic 5 now, so pretty much running back the entire draft of last game, except putting into a bag and shuffling it up a little bit, which is I guess fair enough. The combos are going to be here, at least to some extent, from Fantastic 5. Vacuum Wall Coil is maybe not the best combo in the game, but it could certainly do some serious work if it lands on the handful of Power Rangers heroes. This is going to be a sideline IO, it looks like. Usually Puck doesn't need, or really can't even use that help from the IO, so most likely it's going to be RMN to get a lot of stacking done in the jungle, assuming he's not needed in that offlane.
Yeah, you'll see RMN come in and fill the bottle of his puck in the mid lane for BZZ once a while, and this is definitely another comfort pick for BZZ, maybe even more so than the Tinker. The Aghanim's Scepter upgrade will be very nice against the Juggernaut as well, so I like the pick from Fantastic 5. It is a little bit risky into a Disruptor, however, so PR already deal with all three of these heroes from Fantastic Five just with the Disruptor pick. And, Arai's going to go back for Comfort Zone with 3 out of these 4 picks. We talked about for God Damn It just being any early fighting carry is going to be kind of kosher, and Juggernaut definitely fits that bill. So Earth Spirit for Big Num, J4, Disruptor, Arise, Dragon Knight, this is all very standard. But Fantastic Five going to go a little bit unorthodox. Maybe not overall in competitive Dota unorthodox, but for them certainly so. And they'll pick up the Ricky here, and this is one way to set up relocates very reliably and take out a key target like the Disruptor or the Juggernaut at the beginning of the fight. So I like the pick in that sense, although if RMN doesn't have a monstrous early game like he did in game 1, this does leave their lanes a bit vulnerable.
Yeah, Ricky is on the roam. Io can't really do that much. The Power Rangers, their offlane selection isn't really that high right now, and you could combo with an Earth Spirit to make it a little more dangerous. But I would imagine the Fantastic Five should be able to manage that pretty darn well. And it's also just a pressure hero for the towards the safe lane of Power Rangers. This Ricky, I mentioned Darkseer combos earlier. Just slap an Ion Shell on a hero that is permanently invisible. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good times, especially if you find the Disruptor. Hell, even if just you get into the Juggernaut, just give him a hug with the Ion Shell. You do some serious work there, and of course it's even more payoff now for the Coil, just being able to silence everyone. Even though Power Rangers spells aren't things that you necessarily immediately need to silence, it's still going to be an okay game just to be Ricky in the early stages, I feel. Power Rangers, the Earth Spirit's roam is mostly going to be powerful because of the element of surprise, and if Fantastic Five have a Ricky shadowing the Earth Spirit, then of course that element of surprise is off the board. So I'm thinking this is a pretty reasonable pick for F5 in this Ricky, and now they're going to capitalize even further by getting a little bit more of that damage, as that's something that they were desperately lacking in the Sven. So now they have the combos, man. They have the vacuum into a cleave, into a coil, into everyone silenced. Sven's going to have a field day if that lands. And I'm hoping we actually do see some combos land, and I'm hoping at least that some of them are coming from Power Rangers, just so they can get a little bit of momentum off of getting nothing in the last game.
Yeah, this is exactly the pick I was expecting for Fantastic Five, and I think Yol with great recognition here. He offers catch that they lack in their support duo with Io and Ricky. He has the Darkseer potential combo as well, of course, with the vacuum into the Stormbolt and then the right clicks on top of that. And in general, Sven is just such a good hero versus Juggernaut. He can Warcry during the Omni Slash, which will tickle him if that's the case, and then turn and kill off the Juggernaut with God Strength, even during Blade Fury, excuse me. So I definitely really like the Sven pickup here. He's a hero that, Darkseer, Puck, Ricky, none of them really benefit that much from the IO overcharge, but Sven definitely does. And if he picks up a God Strength and an Echo Saber or anything along those lines, he's going to be able to do a lot of work. And, he's a natural BKB builder, which is always nice against a Disruptor who is going to be hard-pressed to find too much farm early on. Because there's a Darkseer in the lane, pressuring his Juggernaut a bit, and the Earth Spirit will likely be on the roam. It means that the Disruptor won't be able to kind of AFK jungle, especially with a Ricky on the other side. So I think, kind of a no-brainer, but also a great pick for Fantastic Five.
Plus he's blue, so
just fits the bill.
Synergy. It's important to have synergy with your hero picks, just for teamwork reasons. And Power Rangers, they almost have the synergy, not quite there yet, as they do grab an Axe now, which is a pretty interesting selection for that off lane, with the Earth Spirit occasionally rolling in. The threat of Axe just versus Sven is actually reasonably high. I mean, Sven used to be pretty decent up against the Axe, but the change to counter Helix and that it's pure damage now means that Warcry, the Warcry from the Sven, of course, not going to do pretty much anything in that regard. And Fantastic Five supporting cast are really, really bad at poking. Io can dry up against an Axe, but if you get too close, you're going to get torn to bits. So, yeah, I usually don't like Axe in this patch, but I think this is at least a laning stage that's reasonable for him. My concern is that later on, there is going to be a lot of things to disrupt the Axe, just like Smokescreen, the silence from the Puck. If you don't land a blink call immediately, then usually your initiation or your team fight afterwards as an Axe is going to be very, very underwhelming. So I'm concerned that he might just not get enough in the mid game, even after he does have a good early game.
Yeah. PR, once again, seem to have a good laning stage, but I do agree with you that, F5, they're going to ramp up their potential very, very heavily once they pick up their level 6s. You know, the Riki is not necessarily very scary, but everyone else is can do a lot of work, especially in tandem with one another. So I think cumulatively, F5 have, you know, it seemed like in game one, PR had on paper the much scarier team fight, but it does seem like F5, you know, their pickoff potential is there with the puck and the relocate, as it was in game one with the Batrider and the relocate, and now they've got team fight to back it up as well. So F5 in good standing. The 29% dream on Dota 2 Lounge is definitely real for this game, and it almost seems even likely. We'll see if PR can regroup, as you mentioned, and look to actually put it all together in this game. Dragon Knight, if you're having FPS drops, going to be a little bit of a less skill cap hero here for Arise than the puck.
I mean, he's played this hero quite a bit in the recent past as well, and there's no huge particle effects from Fantastic 5 in this game. At least I don't think so. Wall vacuum doesn't really seem all that bad. So yeah, his computer should hold up. Arise, ever since I started casting, has always had like shit computer experiences. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's me just like being a little bit biased after last game and watching him baby rage in the chat. But like, it always seems like he's always the one with issues.
Yeah,
but,
he actually used to stream with 16:9. Or no, not even 16:9. I can't even remember what the ratio was, but it was extremely poor. And he actually just got a new computer recently, so a little surprising to me following his stream that he's having issues. But mid lane, OXN going to be there. They have the tether slow if he walks around him, but unable to actually connect with that. This is going to be a difficult lane, though, for Arise to deal with. The Dragon Knight typically going to rely a lot on his Breathe Fire in even 1v1 mid lane matchups. And, you know, with all the sustain behind OXN with RMN, he should be able to just constantly pressure this Dragon Knight.
I mean, actually dying is going to be not the easiest thing to do as a Dragon Knight in this scenario. Just having the Dragon Blood, of course, up against two, for the most part, predominantly right-clickers, should keep him alive, but getting a comfortable amount of farm with the threat of just, you know, trading hits with a Sven with the IO sustain is going to be difficult. But this is really not an answer to the mid lane from Fantastic 5 as much as it is a response to the off lane Axe. They're going to put Puck in that safe lane up against him, and Puck, well, right now, not getting the most CS, but there really isn't much that Axe can do against a Puck. Can't even battle hunger the Puck, since the Puck will just orb up and kill a creep afterwards. You'll never really be able to get close enough to land a call, let alone land spins afterwards. So BZZ is looking to be pretty darn comfortable up in this top lane, though I'm not really sure if the Riki can actually help that much, because Riki, he has to get close to an Axe, and battle hunger on Riki actually hurts quite a bit. So maybe it's better for this Riki if he just goes elsewhere, because staying up towards top is probably more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, and speaking of elsewhere, Dale already forced out a bot lane on the Darkseer, so that tandem could be a lot more potent than just the Darkseer by his lonesome, especially, as you mentioned, against the tough laning matchup that is the Disruptor. BZZ throws out an orb top lane. He's going to chip down Shashari Cat a little bit, but Yol is very low, and as you mentioned, just a 1 or 2 spin procs will probably be able to bring him down, as Dale is going to return to the bot lane on his Disruptor. Yol actually in tower range there is going to cop himself a tower shot, and BZZ could be in trouble here with the battle hunger. He's going to be chased down, and he'll be able to jaunt away, but gets fairly low, and he's gone for this early Blades of Attack build, so a little bit light on stats. And now the Riki going to rotate towards the mid lane and going to let this BZZ Puck deal solo with the Axe for the time being.
He actually phase shifted, and then as soon as he did, Axe got a spin. So sometimes lucky for the Axe, but sometimes just not lucky enough. And this is kind of a side effect of God damn it, Fantastic 5 having these kind of weaker oriented supports. Like, Io's doing what he can over in mid, but what he can do is not that much. And Riki, especially versus Axe, can't really do all that much. If they had a real support in this lane to poke, then things would be going much smoother for BZZ up in this top lane. But for right now, Cheshire Cat doesn't really have much to fear. Oh, the Disruptor, though, he's taking Ion Shell damage. He doesn't seem to realize it, and he's now just dead. I mean, I see this way too much, dude. I feel like you should always see when you're getting hit by nothing. They're going to roll him towards top lane. Oh, but the Puck is going to phase shift right through it. Looking at a kill on an Axe now. He's got a salve. He's going to chug it down, and they can't cancel it with the Puck. There's no orb just yet. He's going to get stunned up with the boulder. He's going to eat the Fairy Fire and now try to orb himself out, but he will die in the end. So the battle hunger, it looks like. So they do. So Fantastic Five, they do grab first blood on a support, but they lose their safe lane puck, and they're not slowing down the axe. So overall for Power Rangers, it's a reasonable exchange.
Yeah, and Arise is holding his own mid lane. He's got 19 CS, so keeping up decently with OXN, considering that RMN did rotate down to that bottom lane, and goddamn, actually taking tons of damage bottom lane. And now with the surge forward, they should be able to bring him down here. It's once again a case of kind of taking too much damage from the Ion Shell. The healing ward is in the trees, but the Ion Shell and the right click will be there in time to bring him down. And J4, he's a little bit too late to the fray. Will maybe get the return kill onto Yul, but no, the surge away from Dale going to keep him safe. And we talked about the potency of this Ricky Darkseer combo, and now finally Dale able to stand in lane on the Darkseer with his brother in arms by his side. Losing BZZ is certainly a concern, but F5 will find the trade here bottom lane, and it does seem like overall the laning stage going pretty well for them.
You know, when I said Ricky will probably be better off going elsewhere, I didn't realize he would get 2 kills off of Ion Shells, and it was both times. Like, the Disruptor and the Juggernaut both didn't notice that there was Ion Shell there. It's kind of like a slow burn, but you should be looking at your health pool. At least now everyone's going to be staring at their health pool from Power Rangers from now on. Up towards top lane, BZZ. Once again, in a little bit of trouble, but he's got phase boots at this point, and he's got help from the Ion Shell Ricky. Let's see if the Axe notices. He doesn't even have enough mana, so he can't even counterplay this. Now he definitely knows that there's a Ricky there. Smoke screen is going to be deployed. Orb through onto 2. Jump forward with the silence. The Axe is still alive, but now the Isle's coming in from behind. What? They kill off the Axe regardless. Did not expect to see RMN circle around like that, but doesn't matter. Got kill. Ricky has now got 3 of them. He's level 4.5. This Ricky is already well on his way to being a monster, and he's already having a very high impact just 6 minutes in the game.
Yeah, BZZ gonna pick up his coil, RMN gonna be level 4 as well. Things going well across the board for F5. It seems that Arise, despite holding his own in the mid lane, I'm not sure he's gonna have quite the effect that this puck is for BZZ, and even the Sven coming out from OXN. It doesn't feel like PR can really group as 5 unless they have the Axe Blink Dagger, and then bringing him down here in the top lane for Shikari Cat is actually going to be a pretty big deal. And now OXN going to come through with the God Strength and the first usage of the coil. Shikari Cat should be dropping heal. He'll snap it. One more right click, and he will not be able to secure the stack either. So a timely rotation to come in from OXN, just as I mentioned, his effectiveness. Arise immediately going to respond by Dragon forming mid to look to take this tower, but the TP is there from the Sven. And with the residual duration on the God Strength, and now the Ricky rotating through, it's going to be essentially a wasted first Dragon form, it feels, for Arise. It was a bit unfortunate for Bignum. He missed the boulder smash there top lane. It was a nice phase shift coming out from BZZ, but the earlier boulder smash from Hurricane was exactly what secured that kill. And yeah, Courier going to be found out. So you're talking about a high impact game for Yol thus far. And he's involved 3 kills, gets the last hit on all of them, and the Courier now. Dale, though, bot lane, actually just going to TP out.
Well, they didn't even see him. Okay, I thought the Juggernaut for sure got a glimpse of him, but I guess not. The Axe, I think, did steal a handful of the creeps made in that kind of side stack, although I think the vast majority of them was also claimed by the Sven in the end. So, making a rotation pretty early on, getting a kill, getting a pretty decently sized stack, while at the same time not losing your tier 1 tower is a pretty big game for that Sven, of course. And for Fantastic Five, they just have the run of the lanes. Ricky's almost at level 6, which isn't really a huge level to have, but he has damage and then some. He's got mobility with the phase boots and, of course, those wind laces, so he can bounce around absolutely everywhere. And this is important just to keep up with his opponents with this Ion Shell, which he's now got once again. So let's see how much damage he's going to do. Arise started this off at full HP, and now he's actually going to take quite a bit of damage. The Ricky's playing things pretty safe because he checked the Disruptor's inventory, saw the dust. Always do that as any Invis hero, guys. But still, he's just running amok, and Fantastic Five, they have yet to stop him, or even give him, like, a reason to be scared. There have been, like, no sentries in this game. There's one right now, but I'm not even sure if that's going to do that much.
Yeah, and Axe, he's effectively pressured BZZ. He's got a great amount of CS early on, but because of that, because of all these micro skirmishes, he's had to spend all his items on these all his gold, on the cost-effective items and the PMS, the infused raindrops, the full magic wand, and the tranquils. And 10 minutes into this game, with a pretty decent laning scenario, is going to be nowhere near this Blink Dagger. They are going to finally find this pesky Riki bot lane inside the kinetic field, and Dale not going to be able to get there in time. They did use the glimpse there, so he should be able to make it out just fine on the Disruptor, or on the Darkseer, but RMN's going to join up with him, smoke up. Once again, we've seen this story before with the solo smoke, and God Strength is available mid lane. OXN going to bait Arise in as well by backing out, it seems. Arise does have the double damage rune, so it may be a little bit difficult, but now RMN rotating through. There's the Stormbolt. The TP is going to come in as well from the puck. They have the coil, and Arise, he's going to drop with one last big cleave coming away from OXN, and actually the puck for BZZ is the one to pick up the last hit, so he's going to pick up a fairly early Veil, which will be nice for pretty much him and the Ion Shell at the least, but either way, that's the second Dragon Form utilized, and still the tower above deny range in the mid lane. Arise hasn't been able to group with his team, and you know, they are a bit lacking in levels. The Disruptor doesn't have the 6. The Juggernaut, he's had to leave lane to find his farm, so doesn't have that healing ward to contribute to the push. And, you know, PR, they do seem much like in game 1, like they're all kind of playing their own individual game here.
They even, like, teleporting the Juggernaut, wasting Omni Slash up against the Sven, does pretty much nothing. And their CS is still doing decently, and that is just testament to the high individual skill level of Power Rangers, even not playing as a team. Still able to get quite a bit. Mid lane tower, not going to be denied. Dale should be fine to just walk out of here, though, and, oh, with the Riki, maybe walk right in, surging the Riki. In fact, Juggernaut is going to start to burn. Look at the Riki, one backstab. Jeez, that's a lot of damage. He's going to call it quits for right now. So Power Rangers do get their tower in the end, and their net worth, at least on the 3 cores, is looking pretty darn reasonable at this stage, but it just doesn't seem like, as you said, Power Rangers are really clicking together, and I don't know, maybe it's just a bad day for everyone, maybe it's just how this team rolls, maybe it's just pure individual skills been carrying them through a great portion of their games, but it doesn't seem like it's going to quite cut it up against F5. Since you do need a lot of communication in order to effectively deal with a Riki and a puck. I mean, these heroes are difficult to lock down, so if you mess up your stun combos or something like that, you may just lose your kill opportunity. And in the meantime, of course, we got Sven just, you know, doing Sven things. He's farming up incredibly quickly. He's got the maxed out cleave. His stacks have already been cleared at this stage, but Echo Saber's not too far away for him. So, yeah, he's going to be hitting pretty darn hard, but, you know, again, he's going to go up against some pretty tanky targets in the DK and the Axe, so maybe just an Echo Saber God Strike not quite going to cut it.
And even if he stays on par with the Juggernaut, he's going to have the overcharge behind him, so his effective net worth is going to be amplified a bit by that, and, you know, also we talked about just naturally in the draft screen that he's going to be resistant to the Omni Slash with that Warcry, and you saw it there in the mid lane, him having maxed that up. So OXN, he's in a good standing as it stands in this game. And, well, Bignum top lane is effectively baiting, it seems, here. Dire Tide do have a sentry down, but under the cover of smoke are Arise and Disruptor. And, wow, actually, they may just bring down with the tricks of the trade. They do get the Earth Spirit. Yol will be the trade, though. And now they'll find the call as well onto BZZ. But the relocate comes through with one big cleave. They'll be able to bring down one, and now Cheshire Cat in a bit of trouble. BZZ having to jaunt out, and RMN backs away. But for now, it ends up being a 2-for-1 trade, going the way of Fantastic Five. They only lose the Riki. The tricks of the trade really proving to render him elusive. And OXM, in the meantime, farming away. He's going to go for that Echo Saber that we mentioned in the draft screen, and having the overcharge on top of that, just jumping in on the relocate. Pretty much a stun and a couple of right clicks with this Echo Saber should be able to easily kill off at least the Earth Spirit and the Disruptor if he's able to jump onto one of those two. So really think it's proper itemization for this game, and F5, it's not going to hurt their scaling all that much, and it does seem like they can continue to press their advantages. Yol going to join up once again with Dale in the top lane.
That efficiency, the Disruptor glimpsed the Sven back right into the Ancient stack, which is, of course, not really where the Sven wants to be, but he's like, oh, well, I have God Strike active, I might as well just clear it out. It could have been a lot worse for Power Rangers if the Disruptor was killed off before he can get that glimpse off, so that was a very, very clutch glimpse to save at least a couple of those Power Rangers heroes, but still only taking down a Ricky at this stage, that's just not good enough. I mean, he's done so much in this game, this Ricky, so you would think killing him off would at least give Power Rangers some satisfaction, and I'm sure it does, but as far as net worth is concerned, not quite good enough. He's going to run straight through the Static Storm, gets glimpsed out of it. Can they kill him off? No, he's back with his IO, now perfectly safe. Coil drops onto 2 heroes. Axe is going to delay the reinforcements, however, with a 3-man call, but also Puck dropping fairly low, but now the smoke screen drops. Tricks of the Trade is going to be deployed as well. No damage, however, is being dealt by the F5 squad, so they can't get any of these kills. Now Dale stuck on that front line, but with the IO, oh, not quite enough sustain. Now here comes Octane, immediately going to get Dragon Tail, trying to go for the Earth Spirit. Will fall short there as Rise is going to go to town onto RMN. He'll grab the kill on the IO, but now he's left behind. Ricky's still in the area. Breathe Fire, gonna drastically reduce his damage. Axe gonna jump in, decapitate the Ricky. Now he's onto the Sven. He doesn't have the mana to kill him off with the Axe, but he'll still get the kill. As F5, they just lack the damage. They landed so many good combos, but the Axe with his fresh Blink Dagger, getting that Blink to really nullify the coil, really salvaged that fight there for Power Rangers. That was a huge exchange for them.
Yeah, it was hard to see them losing the fight after that 3-man call. He got 2 or 3 spins off during it as well and brought all those heroes very low. The Ricky, although he got glimpsed back to safety, was very low and therefore kind of ineffective in the fight thereafter. And it's simply also a case of just Sven being far too late to the fray for F5. You mentioned kind of the lack of damage, and he's going to be the bulk of it for F5 side. But huge kind of blunder or huge call coming out from the Axe, preventing BZZ's initiation, and that's where the other damage source is for F5 side with the 4-4-1 build for BZZ. So they were really unable to dish out his magic damage toolkit, and that hurt them fairly heavily, and that's going to put PR right into the thick of things in this game. We'll see if BZZ, though, still having that coil available, is able to burst down goddamn bot lane. They know the Omni Slash is down. They'll jump forward, coil him underneath the smoke screen. Waning Rift, illusory orb there. RMN's relocate, really not even needed. And they may even translate this into a tower on top of it. Yol gonna look to scout out any defenders coming through, and RMN gonna serve a similar purpose under the tower, but it looks like they'll back away from the tier 1 for the time being.
Found a courier. I don't know where this courier is going.
Yeah. Someone must have just microed it before dying.
I know who to blame. Oh, it's gonna be fine for the most part. Although Ricky still wants it. Looks like the courier should be okay. But yeah, I mean, it's still a jump in kill, very easy one at that on the Juggernaut, just with 2 heroes. I mean, Ricky's smokescreen pretty darn good up against that spin. Enables Puck to do her entire damage combo, and with the Veil, that is incredibly high at this stage. So BZZ now gonna get a kill, get a little bit closer to the blink. Doesn't quite have it yet, and has to be careful in this upcoming fight. Really wants to just clean up this wave and get that blink. Is gonna fall just a little bit short. The tower's gonna be destroyed by goddamn, so there's a tower denied there, but the smoke is still coming in from the rest of the PR squad. BZZ's gonna grab his blink, jump into the trees, and will be just fine. And even if they lose the Ricky here, that's not a big deal. So this Smoke and Power Rangers not going to find the target they really want. They're going to jump in towards Dale, though. Full creep wave there as well. Couple of spins. That's a dead Darkseer before he can get his mechanism off. They get a kill. They have the Dragon form deployed. They have Armlet on the DK. Power Rangers are incredibly strong right now, but they're actually going to have a distraction in the backlines. Ricky went in. I'm not really sure if that was the correct decision. So yeah, he's just going to get obliterated. Well, 2 heroes down. You definitely push this tier 1.
Definitely does feel like PR are a lot better coordinated in this game, and they'll relocate up OXN to the top lane. He did a bit of farming in the stack, and he can pick up a Blink Dagger of his own if he wishes to do so. It does feel like BZZ's is a little late, but should be enough initiation power for them. So we'll see what OXN opts are going for. He does grab up the Blink Dagger, so if blinks are up on him, the Puck, and the Darkseer, there's definite potential for a huge 5-man wipe going the way of Fantastic 5. However, and they do have the overcharge behind this fan. However, OXN, he's going to be glimpsed in top lane and called up, and he's going to be brought down here. And the coordination around the Shashari Cat Axe in this game has been a lot better looking for PR than in game 1. And really, Sven, who was the only issue yet to be dealt with for PR, is going to be brought down their top lane. Jumped over bottom lane. Goddamn, already used the Omni Slash, and Blink Strike is cooling down here, actually, for Yol. So it looks like he will be able to make it away with the phase boots.
Yeah, just a little bit short there. The Tricks of the Trade was used kind of as a kind of panicky defense tool from Yol, so it wasn't actually able to do that much damage to the Juggernaut, so he is able to slip away, as you said, but they lose over the course of like the past minute for Fantastic Five. Like their Sven, their Ayo, the Darkseer, their Ricky. A lot of casualties in favor of Power Rangers, and still their cores have quite a bit of farm. Goddamn, even with that Battle Fury is going to look to continue scaling, and this axe has been quite a big problem. Never really having to deal with any blink into silence effects or anything like that, or at least not yet. Got the Blink and Blade Mail, and sometimes not the best up against the Sven with the War Cry, but still, it will be returning quite a bit of damage. Now Blink Force Staff as well. This axe has been so far incredibly disruptive, and F5, even though they've killed him off a couple times in the lane, just not able to answer his blinks, and that's doing no small part to the vision of the Radiant squad right now. Like this secret shop of the Dire is completely spotted out by Radiant Observer wards, so this entire kind of east end of the map is just like a giant dead zone for F5. They have to be very careful whenever they move in here.
Especially with the tier 1 taken out there recently, and it does feel like PR have a good foothold in the game overall. The initial potential is starting to ramp up with the second Blink Dagger pick up from F5 though, so if PR don't 5-man, they definitely can be picked off and exploited, but Dust is going to pop and they are going to find Yol, and it looks like he'll die once again. He's going to drop the smoke screen down, but Shishari Cat should be able to find him regardless. They get the glimpse back, decapitated from the Culling Blade, and Shishari Cat 7-2-4, involved in 11 of these 13 kills thus far for PR. It certainly has been the key cog to this mechanism that is the PR lineup in this second game. Dale BZZ bot lane, they are going to be able to force back a reaction and make it out though, so no objective going to be taken off of that Ricky kill, and in some respects you do want your support Ricky to be absorbing smokes and allowing your Sven to farm, but OXN, he's spotted now. Arise got his Earth Spirit coming through. RMN though, he's well positioned here for the relocate save, and he's going to queue it up. Does he get it in time? He will. And they are going to look to re-engage here potentially as well with the IO Spirits coming through. Bignum getting a bit low. Shockwave's going to come through though and bring down the Sven, and he does get one kill, but he will be relocated back and likely brought down here. Stormbolt coming through, a couple more hits on the Disruptor with the Echo Saber. No, it's not enough. 3 HP for J4. Now Dale, he's going to get called up, Culling Bladed as well. And F5, they are falling apart in this second game and looking like the 29% underdogs, and most of it has simply been from this Shishari Cat axe play, but it just feels like even with the Blink Dagger, and the Veil, what can a Puck do against the Blade Mail now of this axe? You can only really coil him up and try to control him. If he dumps out his full combo, the axe will survive and the Puck will not. And F5, they have been caught out, as you mentioned, because of the warding on this east side, and at least that for that in that sense, they will be able to likely deward this, and knowing that they were scouted. But either way, now the Sven, who's farmed up all these Ancients and does have 200 last hits in the game, which is almost 50 more than the Juggernaut, is pretty much at parity with him and the axe.
I mean, yeah, the Sven was able to kill off most of those Ancients, I want to say, so I guess he gets something, but Power Rangers just getting a hell of a lot more, getting a full team wipe, and for F5, they still have this team fight to lean on. We still haven't really seen that come out from them, and mostly because of the initiation not on their side. They've been getting some small-scale initiations, just like Blink Smoke Screen and Puck Follow-Up, and they're maybe looking at that one more time. They're going to jump in. Silence, goddamn, Dale's going to hurry on in with the vacuum back. They have a couple more right-clicks. They'll grab the Juggernaut. So they get, again, a very small-scale initiation to get that one pick off. But so far, all these big fights have been starting off on the end of Power Rangers. Again, mostly in the mostly because of that axe, pretty much always landing a call on at least one hero. And of course, that hero is always in the creep wave. It always seems to be the case. So Power Rangers do have a pretty firm grasp of this game if they can continue to avoid the team fight of F5. But now that there's a Blink Dagger on the level 13 Darkseer, it's going to be harder to do so. Vacuum level 2 wall is very good up against Dragon Knight and Juggernaut. And you even get axe illusions that spin if you attack them, so that's a lot of upside here from the Darkseer, not to mention the cleave and the puck combo. So Power Rangers, they are looking good, but they're not completely out of the woods just yet. They very, very carefully have to look at their positioning, and it seems like right now they're all spotted, so positioning is going to be all the more difficult to have when you're under an Observer ward, but it looks like there's going to be no jump here for F5. Not quite confident enough in that. Most likely we're going to see the F5 team fight when they're defending one of these tier 2 towers.
Yeah, and one thing to note as well is that the Ricky has been a non-factor in these last couple fights, and with this Blink Dagger coming out from Dale, it's likely that he can drop a smoke screen onto a multiple target. So if they're able to deal with the Disruptor and the Earth Spirit while the Axe tries to get something done, and the BKB recently picked up from Arise expires, then I think it bodes well for F5. Sven can definitely stand on the front lines and deal with the Axe and the Juggernaut for that time. So I definitely can say that the counter initiation potential, as you were saying, maybe defending around a tier 2 tower, could be very real for F5. And it's more than likely that Dale's Blink Dagger now is going to be revealed under the wave, at least briefly. But it's likely to say that PR maybe have yet to see this. They will smoke up as 3, and Shashari Cat should be able to join them soon here top lane as well. Goddamn does have a teleport scroll. And they may just find the most important target in OXN. 3 gonna run into him. Dragon Tail is there. Static Storm on top of it. Relocate.
Oh, failed. Yeah. He yanked out before he could actually tether to the Sven. So now the IO is completely screwed as well. There's nothing for him to teleport to or to tether to, and he's just gonna get tailed in the face and dropped. I mean, that was a small mistake from the IO, but it costed them the Sven. They will make a little bit of a push towards this bottom lane. Smoke screen is going to be on arrival here. Power Rangers, though, going to roll in regardless, looking for that glimpse. It's just on the edge of the range. I don't think they have vision at this point, but Boulder, oh, now they do have the glimpse range. They'll grab Dale into another Dragon Tail, and this Darkseer is very screwed. Godlike spree for this Axe. And F5 just lost 3 heroes off of nothing. Like, they get no response pretty much anywhere. Just getting continuously picked off. Initiation again, favoring Power Rangers squad, and for a Fantastic 5, I mean, the Ricky normally is going to be the one who you have to use to scout that, but the smoke is going to get Power Rangers quite a lot of presence on the map. I think F5, the only thing that they have to be really thankful for is that they didn't lose any structures or Roshan afterwards, which is something that Power Rangers have yet to do, but they can do very easily. Especially with the Dragon Knight, who's going to bait Yol in. He was spotted the entire time with sentries everywhere, but Arise played it cool. He was just walking as if nothing was happening, then boom, Dragon Tail.
Yeah, he picks up the fresh Blink Dagger, and the Dragon Form used bot lane, and they won't get any objectives off it, but the item progression from PR is very concerning for Fantastic 5 side. They've got the Manta to come out soon for this Juggernaut. They've got to purge off that Waning Rift coming out from the puck, so he'll be reliably able to get his Omni Slash or spin off more than likely. The Force Staff is available, as well as a BKB for Shashari Cat, and Arise does pick up that initiation tool and the Blink Dagger to cover the Axe call with that Dragon Tail. So it does feel like F5's dream team fight comp is getting less and less likely or less and less feasible as these skirmishes wear on and as PR begin to pick up more and more items. They do have a BKB on their Sven, though, in OXN, and we'll see if he's able to put this to work in this next engagement. Ricky going to look to do some scouting. No sentries up on these heroes. Dale's going to jump forward. He only finds a one-man back, and Arise able to purge off the silence with the BKB. OXN, though, in the front lines doing a lot of work onto Goddamn. He'll force him out. Should be able to bring down the Dragon Knight here, but he's actually going to turn him back, interestingly enough, and essentially they found nothing. Boulder Smash will jump through to jump forward. Yule Scepter will find the Juggernaut, and they get the Earth Spirit in the meantime. Goddamn doesn't attempt to TP out, and F5, they're just not willing to continue to chase forward as the God Strength expires on their Sven. Mid lane, though, they will find the Disruptor on the return back, who tried to pick off a Wisp, but RMN, wisely so, is going to tether up to his Sven and get them a kill on the back end.
And that could have been so much worse there for the Power Rangers squad. Arise was able to BKB dodge the Stormhammer, and if he got hit with that, then he was definitely going to fall, because we saw how much damage the Sven was actually able to do in that fight, even without any control at all. So he was just simply running after his opponents, was cleaving through 2 heroes, and did a monstrous amount of damage. Yet still, it's F5 to use quite a few of their item tools, BKBs and whatnot, and not able to get a significant amount done, but they're still not done yet. They're going to wrap around. Puck doesn't have eyes on the axe just yet. They actually have eyes on the Earth Spirit instead. They're going to drop him fairly quickly. Vacuum back with the hammer there. They will cleave through him kind of slowly with the Sven, but still get the kill nonetheless. Coil now deployed onto the axe. Oxen does have another God Strike. He's going to cleave through. Goddamn, look at the damage from the Sven. Call comes in a little bit too late. He's still right-clicking into the blade mail, though. The calling is going to fail, and now the Sven, well, he will fall down as Arise is going to make his arrival in. BKB is up on him. No physical damage left on the F5 squad. They're going to try to snipe the axe with BZZ. He's going to fall just short of it, but the Ricky's going to jump with the Ion Shell, grab the kill, try to make an escape with the gem. They will lose BZZ to Arise the Blink Dragon Tail, but for F5, they actually take a 3-for-4 exchange. Sven able to get his hands dirty this time without getting insta-gib before the fight even starts, and it is going to be F5 to kind of rally around the damage that Sven is doing. Now he has a little bit of extra damage with that crit. Game's not over yet, dude. We got ourselves a real match.
Yeah, it's something we talked about in the Josh game. Is Blade Fury just doesn't help you from a Sven with tether move speed. I mean, he's just gonna kill you with his right clicks, and was able to kind of freely run through that fight for once. It was a bit of a early BKB pop from the Sven, but you know, BKB doesn't save you from blade mail anymore, so he likely would have died regardless on top of the axe. But either way, is able to get a lot of damage done. It was a nice kill on the back end on the puck from Arise, but not only do they get the favorable trade for Fantastic 5, they get the 3-for-4 against heroes who are worth more than them right now, and they also get the gem away from Bignum's Earth Spirit onto the Ricky, which is a really nice pickup for F5, not only to gain map control, but just to keep their Ricky being an impact in these fights. And it was just picked up by PR, so that is a unfortunate loss for the Radiant side.
Sven still farming away. This guy played a monstrous juggernaut in the last game, and he's looking to make a repeat performance in this one. 5-5-5, not really a score to write home about. I mean, it's perfectly reasonable. It's pretty good, in fact, but nothing compared to the last one. Oh, Tricks of the Trade gonna dodge a whole bunch of spells here from Ricky. He's gonna smoke screen up. However, he's still stuck. Now the call onto 2 with the BKB on the axe. Doesn't care about the smoke screen. They'll lose the Ricky immediately, and they'll most likely lose the IO straight after with the Dragon Tail on landing. Double kill for Arise. They're conveniently right next to the Roche pit, so they should be looking for that as well. And they claim back their gem. So Bignum gets his hands back onto that one. F5, getting a little bit too far out of the map with a couple too many heroes, are going to lose them both. And are also going to lose the Roche. I mean, the Sven would love to jump in here. If he had an IO, I'm sure he would, but he doesn't. So I don't think that's really the play. Although, maybe I'm underestimating the manliness of the Sven. Now he's going to go the other direction. They're going to concede the Roche, which most likely is also going to mean they're going to concede one of these tier 2s.
Without the IO, it's tough to see him make that play, and BZZ going to look to get some scouting off, and will be privy to the fact that there's a ward on the high ground, as there was an immediate reaction from Cheshire Cat. But either way, F5, you know, after clawing their way back into this one, are once again going to be at a deficit, and PR with a very nice pickoff as soon as they lose their gem, able to grant it back to themselves. So they have been really diligent about keeping sentries on the map before they picked up this gem, and the one last standing sentry from a little bit earlier on in the game is going to bear fruit for them. BZZ in a bit of trouble top lane. Looking for the glimpse here, but they do not have vision for the Radiant side any longer. So BZZ will be able to back himself out to safety. They do have the Greaves up onto Dale, which is a nice little influx. And now the Aghanim Scepter are going to come out for BZZ as well. It's been a long time since his potential was ramped up, and this is going to be really nice versus both the Axe for that extra bit of duration, as well as against the Juggernaut through the spin.
And at the bare minimum, just gives him a little bit of extra HP. He's been caught off by the Axe quite a few times, so just having that additional bump of 10 strength, 175 health, that's not a small amount here for BZZ, so that's also some pretty big game. And now you have like a pick your poison type scenario for Power Rangers. Do you want to stay in the coil with the Sven, or do you want to snap the coil and try to get away from the Sven? There really are no good options for them at that stage. It really only needs BZZ to land a spell cast of coil in that to make it a real devastating scenario for Power Rangers. So they do have to be very careful in how they approach this. They do know that BZZ has the Aghanim Scepter at this point. I think he just showed it off on the bottom lane, so they'll play around that at least a little bit more, but honestly there's not much that you can do to play around a coil except for, you know, just not snap it, and usually that's not a good idea to begin with. They will take down the top lane tier 2 tower, pushing forward for more. They get their Dragon Knight, his Assault Cuirass, so the push is going to be even faster. He has a fresh dragon form right now, and goddamn, just going to go to work. F5, this is the chance for them to make a team fight happen. God Strength is there. They're going to vacuum 2 back. Goddamn is going to drop super low very quickly, but he will Omni Slash and stay alive for a little while longer. Oxen's doing some pretty serious damage, but again, the axe is just disrupting everyone in the background. Will kill out the Darks here, but it's so far 2 for 1. Juggernaut going to pop right back up, but he can't really challenge any of these heroes. He's going to immediately try to spin away, but the Sven, is he going to chase forward for it? No. F5, they get a 1 for 2 trade. Kind of a small scale engagement, honestly, but I think it's still good enough. Sven doing some serious work again, as does the axe, honestly, who did just as much, if not more. But Power Rangers, their dragon form is dwindling. They can't really afford to give it to chase for more. Goddamn, though, is going to get chased down for more. But again, the axe is going to jump in and interrupt him. This time, though, there's smoke screen, so he can't really stand comfortably and call people down. He's going to be now on the run, chased down by the Ricky and the Puck. Will lose the axe. That is a big kill for F5. And for F5, they're still rallying around this Sven. And they're in actually a pretty good position to take down Tier 2 tower of their own at this stage if they really feel up to it.
And, you know, fighting in a choke against this team fight from F5 is always going to be very difficult for PR, Aegis or not. And the major thing about that engagement is they completely whiff their Aghanim's coil as well. So if that lands on top of Arise, he dies for sure. The axe likely dies up on the top lane rather than in the mid lane. And I think F5 take that even more convincingly. So perhaps it's, I mean, the Static Storm was good. The call on top of it was good as well. So I can't really say that the backlines weren't ready for the counter initiation very well. But, you know, the Sven, he's just doing so much burst damage, even against these high armor targets in the Juggernaut as well as the Dragon Knight. So overall, it just does seem like F5 they have enough tools around this Sven for him to get his work done. And you know, he's got 3,300 gold on top of that full data list. He's sitting on level 20, almost 21, which is tied up there for the highest in the game. So it's something that PR have yet to deal with. And you know, I don't know that their itemization can really help them much more than it already has in that cause.
You just need 4 stabs and ghost scepters, right? That's the only thing you really can do up against the Sven. There's really no one else on F5 that you really have to be scared of. At least not, you know, no one you could actually counterplay against significantly. Like your Puck with the upgraded coil, you can't do anything about that. You just have to accept it. They will actually look to catch the Sven. Dragon Tail is there. This time the Io, though, should be able to yank him out, and he will do just that. Brings him all the way back to the fountain. They probably will lose RMN here. But you know what? It's much better than the alternative of losing the Sven. He's able to, you know, jump back out there, keep getting more farm. Poor RMN, poor Io.
Goes for the EGM.
Yeah, always getting the shaft, right? That's the Io's job. But again, much better than the alternative, and he's down for 50 seconds actually. Rise will be forced back because of BZ's pushing on the bottom lane, so this push up towards top is not really going to do as much as Power Rangers really would like, so absorbing that gank is actually not too bad for F5.
Yeah, F5 don't mind it. The Roshan isn't up. They're not going to be able to push the top lane, you know, and they save their Sven for the time being. Excuse me, the Armen Wisp doesn't need all that much more as they have the Greaves Builder in Dale's Darkseer, and they should be able to pick up a Shiva's as well very soon, which is only going to further help the Sven do work. It seems like the entire itemization for F5 is completely based around OXN doing work, and you know, he's going to be able to stand in the front lines more reliably now with this fresh Satanic pickup.
I mean, if he can get the Unholy Rage off before he gets called or something like that, then you know, he's going to be very happy. But even if he doesn't, even just having a little bit of lifesteal now, just for the passive component of Satanic, is going to drastically reduce the effectiveness of an Axe Blade Mail. Especially if he gets Warcry off beforehand. Like, between the Lifestealer and the increased armor up against that Blade Mail, this Sven doesn't really have that much to fear. He's going to smoke up with the rest of the team. This may be disastrous for F5, or it may be a game-winning play. If there's no casualties from this, I don't know. I'm out. I have no idea. But we got the patrolling Juggernaut illusion. Let's see if they can see anyone coming in. No, they can't. Oxen's going to jump right in. Vacuum back. Disruptor down immediately. No Static Storm is here. And the Sven's still cleaving through onto the Sven. They take down the Earth Spirit as well. And now they're looking for more. Omni Slash is going to be deployed. Mostly absorbed, though, by Dale. Doesn't even get the kill for goddamn. Now a short relocate forward. Then another hammer onto the Axe. And they grab another kill. Now they're onto a Rise. He's got a lot of armor. He's very difficult to bring down. But you know what? He's all alone. So I think they'll be able to do it anyway. And they will. It's going to be 4 for 1 in favor of F5, and the Sven ends that fight with legit full HP. There's only a buyback on a Rise. The creep wave is not here, in any of these lanes, however. So for F5, they're going to have to battle up against backdoor protection, yet regardless, they still claim a monstrous victory. And it's going to kill off the Axe and the DK by the end of it.
A bit of an interesting glyph from the Radiant side there. Essentially wasted entirely, not recognizing where the waves are at this point. But we did see the Aghanim's Coil land on at least the Dragon Knight there, and that's going to effectively take Arise out of the fight. And then the Sven, with his extra bit of lifesteal, as you mentioned, sustain, and just all that strength, able to right-click into the blade mail of the Axe, and most people surviving there as well. Dale, he's going to be only 200 gold away from the Mystic Staff, and therefore only about 600 away from that Shiva's. So I think F5 are in the driver's seat for the first time in this game, or the first time since the very early game. And yeah, Sven yet to be dealt with. 3,000 gold on top of that fresh Satanic from that last fight here. And can replace the Echo Saber here fairly soon with another damage item.
Well, this tower is not going to last long at all. Warcry to cover the retreat, and F5, they take 2 tier 2 towers off it, pull out the enemy glyph, so they know that it's going to be a pretty free high ground push in the upcoming minutes of the game. Plus Roche is going to respond very quickly. It seems like the game may just be favoring F5 with its RNG a little bit, but Power Rangers can still contest this. That angle from initiation from F5 was much better, and Power Rangers simply did not expect it. If they're able to get this Disruptor to cast something before he gets immediately obliterated, then already we're going to have a much better fight for Power Rangers. But the only question is, what angle is this fight actually going to come down to? Goddamn's going to grab a Haste Rune, jump right into the Roche Pit, and start working it down. But F5, unlike last time, have everyone alive and in the area. This Roche is actually not dropping quite as quickly as Power Rangers maybe would like. Ricky going to make his approach in. The Roshan now at half HP. Sven's going to have to blink in here. Blind, I think. Oh, Puck's going to throw the orb first. Sven is going to jump in. Coil only catches onto one. It's going to be Omnislashing Juggernaut. So Oxnot's actually doing that much damage. Now he's going to get locked down. Satanic now helping up, and now here comes Arman. He's still alive, this Sven. Now Satanic active. He's going to start cleaving through everyone. He's going to grab 2 kills immediately, and he's going to now grab a third. He takes down the Aegis of the Juggernaut. He's going to respawn soon, but to a swarm of heroes. Goddamn, welcome back to Earth. You're dead. They're also onto Arise, who's going to kill off the Ricky before he goes down, but he will in fact go down. It's a 5-for-1 exchange, 6-for-1 if you want to count that Aegis. And for F5, this Satanic on the Sven is going to do some serious work. They just can't kill him. He actually just cannot die right now, especially when RMN is able to keep him up with that overcharge and the healing from the tether.
Yeah, what else is new in this series? RMN game-saving play there, or at least fight-saving play, and game-winning play coming out, saving Alexan. Good itemization from him as well to pick up this Satanic, and knowing he had enough damage in the last few engagements that he simply needs to survive. And PR, they blow everything on him there and are unable to bring him down. And F5, they weathered the storm in this game. They had so much impact in the early game from their Ricky, but they really fell off in the mid game. It felt like, with the Veil build coming out from BZZ, they just didn't have any initiation. And then the triumvirate of Blink Daggers coming out on the Puck, the Sven, and the Darkseer. Well itemized, well played by F5 and RMN's Wisp, MVP of the entire series here. 29% underdogs. Fantastic Five going to move on to the grand finals, where they await the winner of Ad Finem and Kai P.
And then winner of that faces up against Power Rangers. So you got this whole big thing. So we're still not quite done yet, guys. But hey, we're moving along. As you said, it's going to be Fantastic Five to get their seat in the grand finals. And my message to whoever is going to be playing up against them: ban the IO, or pick the IO. It would probably do you well. Let me ask you a question though, dude. Power Rangers, they had a really, really big lead throughout almost the entirety of this game. Was this Power Rangers throwing away the game, or was it just F5 outplaying Power Rangers like we saw in Game 1?
It felt like a bit of both. It maybe even felt like a draft issue. I don't know. They just didn't seem to have enough damage to bring down the Sven. They had a very sizable advantage when they went for that top lane push. And as I mentioned, the counter initiation was good enough from the Axe and the Disruptor, but they just didn't have enough damage on top of it. Goddamn. Into a Warcry, the Omni Slash is just not that scary, and the Juggernaut, it wasn't able to get enough done. So I felt like that last pick Sven really kind of trumped what they wanted to do with their safe laners. So I feel like you put your BKB Dragon Knight up on the high ground. He's your tankiest target. He's your siege engine. You counter initiate there. So I don't think it was a bad play from PR. It's definitely hard to fight into high ground, but they had the Aegis at that moment. So felt like that last pick Sven just really working out for and Arise did ban the life stealer as opposed to it. So maybe a bit of an oversight on his part, but Fantastic Five with some very good teamwork, I would say, in the series overall.
Yeah, an amateur move banning out the red hero instead of the blue hero gets you every time. Every time. But guys, you heard it here first. This is going to be the end of the series. Power Rangers going to drop down to the lower bracket, await their next opponent. And as will F5, they'll wait the next opponent in a different way. But we're done here. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Mrpdota. If you enjoyed the cast, if you enjoyed the games, be sure to keep an eye on the channel. Follow it and follow us on Twitter as well, at Mikelorus for myself, at Mrpdota for my co-caster. And we'll see you guys next time. GG.
GG.